Tag is mortal instrument, so you may have your phones out to do that. If I can ask you to do photos, we do those at the end rather than that would be marvellous. Alright, let me start the ball rolling then. First of all, if I could turn to you, Harold. You have directed coming-of-age stories before, usually featuring a male as the lead. Was the idea of telling a coming-of-age story with such a strong female character in the lead role one of the things that attracted you to this film?
Yeah, you could say that Karate Kid was a bit for my son, and this one was for Stella, my daughter, who needs some good role models. She's way too young to see the movie, but she saw it before the monsters were added, so she loved it then. And now I think she's going to be terrified. Yes.
Because it really doesn't pull any punches. That's everyone's seen the movie now. We can talk about the finer points. The demon dog at the start. Wow, that's something out of a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the idea that you know, people ask me, so didn't you consider your audience before this? And I just wanted to make a really great movie that I'd love to watch too. And to dumb things down just because people are young, I don't think we need to do that. And I think they can take quite a few things. I think audiences today are much more sophisticated than when I was young, which isn't that long ago, by the way. Not age myself too much here, but and I think people like to be scared. And as long as I was constantly thinking, what would I show my own kids? And I think as long as there's not too much gore and blood and that speculative action, or actually girls in jeopardy, which I think is a little boring after a while. They need to stand up for themselves. I think they can absolutely take a few good jumps. And I was inspired by The Exorcist and the good old Thing, the original Thing. I love the idea of something cracking apart and trying to reassemble itself. And I try to make it as realistic as possible.
Well, while we're on the subject of a female character who isn't just in any way a damsel in distress, Lily, I mean, she is, I am imagining, a dream for an actress to play, because she is that rare thing, which is a really strong female lead character in a film. Is that what attracted you to the part?
Yeah, I guess the fact that Clary is very normal. She cries, she's confused, she's going through an identity crisis, which I know I sure did. I don't think anyone really ever fully gets over. But she embraces that, and she finds the strength in her weaknesses. And she ends up kicking major butt and hanging with the guys, but all the while still having those very feminine young girl moments that make her very real. So I think it was kind of this journey that she goes on, but never losing sight of how she actually is very normal as well. Because I think it's too easy to play it very superhuman, but that's not relatable to the normal person. So that's what really drew me to her.
And on the subject of kicking butt, she does kick butt alongside your character, Jamie. Jace is, he is a cool guy. I think he's kind of like the guy most guys would like to be, where he's a mysterious stranger who turns up, is incredibly charming, and can slay demons with one hand tied behind his back. He must have been a fun role.
Yeah, he's everything that I'm not. Performance is always a very cathartic process for me, and I'm not particularly cool. Put it that way. He was a great character to play. It was tough. It was. I put a lot of work and a lot of effort into it. A lot of the characters that I played beforehand have been fairly, let's say, soft or rounded physically. So in order to sort of unfortunately or fortunately, depending on which way you look at it, you have the book and there's the guy there with his shirt off and he's looking pretty buff and pretty hench, and so you have to I had to sort of get into that sort of physical shape. But I've always liked to push myself. I've always liked to sort of challenge myself in some way, shape or form. I think that, without that, I'd sort of probably be getting quite bored. I have quite short attention spans, as you might be able to tell. It was fun and it was difficult, but, learning how to sort of hone my skills in the terms of stunts and fighting was a real joy, But, I did come out of it the other side going, oh. God, it's Christmas.
And the other character of this triumvirate we're talking about now, played by yourself, Robert, is Simon. Now, he's kind of like eyes and ears of the audience to this fantastical world. And he deals with seeing a lot of this stuff in a very funny way. I love the line, "The werewolves are coming to save us. I never thought I'd say that." And was he a fun character for you to play, or did you kind of, some of the time, want a sword in your hand and out there demon slaying?
Yeah, you know, there's always comedy to be juiced from being the guy at the back of the group who's not doing any of the slaying, he's doing all of the cowering. And also, you know, tumbling into this world and being the normalized on this very, very abnormal world, you know, you get to kind of frown and ask, what the hell is going on in 5 or 10 minutes, you know? And it's true, the audience do need someone like that. And it is myself, and it's also Lily's character, Clary, who is very much the normal person tumbling into this crazy world. But yeah, you know, it was lovely fun. And the good thing, you know, the good thing about Simon and about keeping that was Harold saying, look, it's got to be real. It's got to be real, because, you know, my instinct tends to be toward performance and toward gesticulating wildly in every direction. You may have seen it in my other work, right? but it was very much Harald Zwart reining me back and going, it's got to be real, it's got to be absolutely real. This guy is, you know, is very normal, somewhat elitist, somewhat bookish, you know. So you know, it was very much. It was kind of new discovery for me, and it was real fun, really enjoyable.
All right, do we have any questions from the floor right now? It's a simple hand in the air. Yes, right there.
Hello, I'm Casey from Monday Mum.
Hello, Casey from Monday Moms.
I was just wondering, I saw the film, it was amazing. You filmed in a lot of good sets, like amazing sets. Is there one that you really enjoyed filming in the most?
I think the first one that I remember, just kind of my jaw dropped, and very reminiscent of the scene actually. Jamie opened the door to the Institute Library for me to just see it for the first time, and I just stood there, my mouth open just like Clary, because I was a huge fan of the books, you know, before I was cast, so you automatically picture what you assume it's going to look like, and it for me was hands down exactly how I had pictured, if not even better. And the depth of the sets and the intricacy of all the props that you never even saw. I mean, there were bookcases of books with what you'd think is just a spine of a book, but it was complete, like, novels that you never really knew existed, and all the weapons and the things that were made for it. So really, that set to me was just pure magic. Yeah.
We have another question from the man in the grey t-shirt just behind you. So yes.
Hi Lily, question for you. You mentioned about kicking butt in the film. Did you have to do any training to get into shape for the movie, and what was the hardest thing you had to do?
Yeah, we all did actually. I mean, Robbie did train, but
Training was very much sleep. Just have a sleep in. You know, the rest of them are going to go and do stunt choreography. You just show up for the filming bit and put a t-shirt on.
or take the t-shirt off.
Exactly, you know. Ladies, that also happens.
Yeah, no, I trained for 3 months before filming out in Los Angeles, and then every day before, during, or after work with the stunt department, as well as our physical fitness trainer. I've always been an active person though, and I really enjoy getting down and bruised, I guess. Especially with this one, I have to hang with all the guys and keep up in heels and a very short dress for the guys. No.
Why are you two getting all sexy? Why are you staring at ladies for the lads? What do I think? Like dogs, anyone?
Everyone has to be covered.
I was just jealous of the heels, you know.
Well, yeah, Kevin got to wear platforms, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I guess the hardest part for me physically was that I didn't train in the outfits except for the day before, you know, and then I'm thrust into it with these heels and this dress. And as Lily, it was very awkward, but I could just pawn it off on Clary. So I never twisted an ankle, and I barely tripped. I just bruised a lot. Battle scars.
You're going to do a lot more butt kicking in the second one.
Yes, but the heels are lower.
Yes. What's the vitamin that stops you bruising? Like
Arnica.
Vitamin K or something.
Arnica, I take it every day.
Iron,
second movie.
Iron, or you know, we need to.
It doesn't make a difference on me.
Like porcelain.
It's a better word than pale, thank you.
Like a geisha doll.
There you go.
Yes, you say. Yeah.
Hi, I've got a question for Jamie. I interviewed you some years ago when you were doing a TV series called The Prisoner.
Yeah.
And you said, perhaps jokingly then, that you'd always have some kind of body art, a tattoo, to mark each of your projects. I wondered if that's still true, and if you had anything to mark the filming of this movie.
Yeah, I'm getting. I was actually meant to go in today, but the tattoo parlour around the corner, First Street, is closed today. That's where I got to get most of my stuff done. Yeah, I'm getting. I am after all what you made me, which is a quote from one of the books, one of the later books, with two roses on my back. But like recently, I got a skull and a cross, and my arm, and back, and my legs are all done. So yeah.
This one is very good. It's a ball and chain.
Yeah, that was from The Prisoner. That was.
And we need to cover it all up every day when we shoot it.
It's my own stupid problem that I'm sitting in there for like 5 hours, 6 hours.
And yet you've gotten 5 since the last movie.
Yeah.
You already had 4 hours.
You know,
Joe is
you're
going
in
to kill you.
Yeah. Well, I've got conversations with Gersha going on next week, our costume designer, so I think there'll be a lot of long sleeves and gloves from now
Hard
on.
to do to cover Jamie up each day, was it?
Was it good?
No, was it quite hard to do to cover you up?
Yeah. I mean, it took about 4 hours to cover up, and then to put on the tattoos over the top. But
Why did you just tattoo the tattoos we need?
That's what Kevin said, didn't he? Kevin said he wants to get the neck one,
Yeah,
and then just
cool.
have you guys pay for it to be removed at the end of it.
They fade. That's the problem with these runes, isn't it? They don't stay permanent.
it's true.
Yeah.
But I quite like having them there. I quite like having them sort of there underneath the like makeup and the skin. I still sort of like to know that I'm still Jamie underneath all that. At the end of the day, like that's sort of one of the reasons that I have them. It's like just so that it's me. You know, wherever I go, I know who I am.
Yes, a question that just there.
Hi, Sharon from IrishShadowHunterFans.com.
Irish Shadowhunter fans. Oh my God, it's good to have you here. Finally, you're sure. It's about time, women.
It's actually a question. We met Jamie a couple of weeks ago in the event with Cassandra, and I know I asked you a question at the time. So this is for Rob and Lily. Jamie, I suppose you've already been involved in like a big franchise and the whole media hype leading up to a big franchise. And I just want to know how you guys are dealing with everything that's kind of the whole build up to the release of the movie and the hype and expectation of the movie.
Well, I think these guys have been on more of a significant promotional tour than me. I was doing a small film, and so I wasn't available up until I was at Comic-Con and then the LA press and then Toronto, and so even just that has just turned me upside down. Seriously, it's been fairly hysterical. You know, there's been a feverish anticipation amongst the fans, and every time we show up to a premiere, there's hundreds of fans that have been there for 12 hours camped out, and it absolutely bowls me over. I mean, I remember we were in Toronto and we'd done some stuff, and then the next day we got up for morning television, myself and yourself, and then I promptly went back to bed after morning television, and then got back up, and I was kind of just, having done a premiere like the night or the night before, I just, the thoughts of another premiere ahead was kind of just, I was just.
There's a lot of work for Robbie when he does premieres. He doesn't go to bed.
It was also, it's just kind of mustering the energy and the enthusiasm. But the thing is, once I got there, the fanaticism and the energy just absolutely just coasted me along, you know, and it was just infectious, and that was, you know, due to the fans. So, you know, everything has been, you know, for me, thankfully, adrenaline has kicked in the key moments, like right now, for example. So yeah, it's been an absolute eye opener. I mean, from like Comic-Con was my first real direct, you know, it was my first experience of the expectation. You know, like my first eyewitness, you know, experience. Because you know, I'm not a very savvy social media person. I'm not on kind of checking the traffic. I don't really know how to use Twitter very well. So it was there that I first realized, wow, you know, the anticipation's huge.